the Sydney Sweeney commercial where she's like, "Oh, I have good genes because I have blue eyes, and my blue eyes match my genes," and like, all that fucking like Aryan race type shit. So we all know it was extremely cringe. I mean, that was the cringiest commercial I think I've seen in at least a couple fiscal years. All right, so like we can all agree it was really cringe. I have a friend. We used to work together, right? And he kind of he's white, but he kind of has this like complex that he thinks like being white is supposed to like score him like extra points with women, and that he assumes that he's going to be like more successful with women because he is white. And I remember like when we would go out, hang out, go out on the town and shit. Um, he had this like kind of arrogance to him, like, oh, I'm white, so that puts me like on the same level of attractiveness as you. He used to like talking to me. It wasn't like he's like muscular or handsome or anything like that. No, and again, no offense, I'm not trying to shit on bro, but like he knows. He felt like, again, like because he's white that he was supposed to like be as successful as another person just by virtue of being white, and not by virtue of like anything else, not by virtue of like being like handsome or tall or muscular or like having anything of that nature, right? And so I remember like when we went out, right, once there was a girl that had walked up to me and like asked for my number, and like essentially like was saying that her friend was interested in me and like stuff like that, right? And it happened in front of him. And like it took that moment for him to realize that him being white wasn't enough. It finally sunk in. Okay, like I can't rely on me being white to compete in the dating market anymore. And like as much as I care for his feelings, and I don't want him to feel bad about himself. I don't. But like a lot of y'all, a lot of white people like do think that just by virtue of like being white that they're on the same attractiveness level as a POC, just by virtue of being white. Not for actually like, because obviously there's like actually like attractive white people, right? But like it's the reliance and the just by virtue of being white kind of like mindset, like, oh, like my features are more desirable. My features show that I'm of a certain social economic status. Therefore, I should be like more successful in the dating market, or at least as successful as as a POC. And I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like a lot of, especially like white males, do think things of that nature. And I mean, you did design a society to think that, and you're more attractive, and to value like your features more, and to value what you have to offer more, and to you created a society that tied features, phenotypes to a certain socioeconomic status as well. So how do you not win at the system that you created? How do you not win at the system that you created and rigged in your favor? How do you lose at that? I think a lot of like white people might be mad at that, but it's like, is this true? Like, how do you lose at that? How do you create the game and then lose at it? And don't get me wrong, I'm glad to see it happen, but I'm just saying, like, you know. So the Cindy Sweeney shit, right? I'm thinking this because she got a lot of hate. She got, what I'm saying, they got a lot of hate for that campaign, as they should, because it is very eugenics. It is very like we value these phenotypes. Like these phenotypes are more valuable than other phenotypes. I think that's lame as hell, right? But then like you POCs out there that primarily seek to date out white people, I don't really see how you could complain about a commercial like that, because I feel like subconsciously you think the same thing, and that's good. That might like rub a lot of people the wrong way, but you know, only a hit dog gonna holler, right? That's what they say. A lot of minorities think that. What Sydney Sweeney said in the commercial, a lot of minorities subconsciously agree with her. That's the saddest part. We know that white supremacists and whites and stuff like that, of course not all whites, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's keep it real. But we I would expect, right, a traditional kind of white person to agree with that. But the problem is a lot of minorities subconsciously agree with that. And you can see it in your dating history. You can see it in your friend groups. Like, you can see it like, I'm always very suspicious because, look, like, I criticize everyone. I'm totally not against criticizing white people. Of course not, right? But at the same time, it's I find it even more interesting to criticize POCs, because I feel like a lot of POCs are hypocrites straight up. Like, they'll criticize something that white people do, but then like you believe it. I remember growing up in middle school. I remember it was like the first day of school, right? Maybe like art class. And I remember I said something, and one of the kids in the class, one of the kids in those classes, like, you sound like a white boy. You know what I'm saying? Because at that age, I was more articulate than my peers, because my peers were like, yeah, my peers were like all hood rats, right? So I went to like a hood school, so my peers were all just like, I ain't gonna hold you, like, they were just like no home training, just ghetto, didn't care about education, didn't care, like, they were like not people that you really want to hang around like that, bro. Real street niggas respect people that like stay in their lane and be doing their thing. Like, real street niggas respect that. These are just like corny ass like losers who were like whatever who I was going to school with, right? But like the kids in middle school, and these are black kids, right? They'll laugh at me like, ha ha, you sound like a white boy, all this type shit. And I'm like, in my head, so you're saying that having a strong command of the English language or being articulate is being white. So you're saying you're essentially associating intelligence with whiteness. So you're perpetuating white supremacy. I personally think there's a lot of black white supremacists. There's a lot of Asian white supremacists. There's a lot of Hispanic white supremacists, brown, you know, like, and they don't even know it. I would go on to say that there are probably more PLC white supremacists than there are white supremacists.